Hello everybody, and in today's video, we will be doing the complete guide to the Farmall M. Now, as for the complete guide to the Farmall M, it is going to be kind of a semi-long video. I don't know how long this is going to take for me to film to explain everything, but I hope we can get this done in a decent amount of time. So without further ado, let's get after it. Come on. Now, this particular tractor right here is a 1953 model. Now, you can tell by the casting codes, if you come around this side, you can see a casting code right there. It says 927T. So that is the month, the date, and T in International Harvester terms is 1951. So the engine block itself was casted in 1951. Now, if you look all the way over here, there's another casting code, 222U. Now, that stands for 1952. So now we know where these parts were casted, so that we know that it was all casted out in 1951 and 52, and it was probably assembled in early 1953 when it got its final serial number, or late 1952. So that kind of gives us a general area of what year this is. So I'm kind of placing bets on 1952, but it could also be a 1953, so that's where I'm kind of putting it at. So come back around this side. This tractor has been on the farm for years, but we've had this place since 1974. So, all right, enough yakking. Let's start the tractor. Now, these old tractors, they like specific throttle settings to start on the fewest cranks. So, you set the throttle at about a 2. Check the oil from this top petcock right here. Open it up. Should get oil coming out of that. Looks like it needs some. Open this bottom petcock. See if we get anything out of that. Yep, there we go. We have oil. This thing needs an oil change. So, we have oil. Now, so after you've done that, and you made sure your throttle's at 2, you make sure it's out of gear. You turn on the ignition. Well, actually, no, before you turn on the ignition and everything and start losing juice, you turn the gas on. Then you turn on your ignition. And then send it. And away we go. The operator station in itself isn't really the most comfortable to sit on, because you got no backrest, and before I put this seat cushion on it, it was just bare metal, so it was really not really the most comfortable seat to sit on. And you can see the ammeter down there as the battery's coming back up to full capacity. Throttle up. And if you get really aggressive with the throttle, you get this. which sounds awesome and I love it. Clutch, first gear. Which also sounds awesome. And you got reverse. There you have it. Well, not really, but you got belt pulley actuation here. Turn that off. Sorry if you had a bad camera angle there. Power takeoff. Always press in the clutch before engaging the power takeoff. Then you release the clutch. Push in the clutch. Push that down. And get this. When you pull this, automatic load. Anyway. I call that the load button, but you shouldn't really use it that way. Choke right here, you don't really have to use that though on this tractor, this carburetor. Don't know why, it starts up just fine in cold weather, you don't really have to choke it. But that's just this tractor, I don't know what the other M's do. But I always turn the gas off when shutting down these old tractors. You could shut off the ignition and shut them down that way, but I prefer to drain the carburetor so that way the float doesn't get stuck or gets soaked if the float has got a pinhole in it. The floats on those older models used to be made out of cork, and if you let gas sit in the carburetor for too long, that cork will get soaked and the float wouldn't work anymore. So I prefer to drain the carburetor, even though this float is not made out of cork because it's one of the newer models, but it's still just cheap insurance. Now, I'm not really too sure about the history on this tractor. All I know is really that the previous owners of this tractor has treated this thing well, because there's no dings, dents in the grill. It's all pretty straight. The sheet metal looks pretty good. There was a paint job that went over the original decals that went on this thing. This area seemed pretty much untouched by paint, but pretty much where it says McCormick Farmall on it has pretty much been painted over. If I can read this right, it says Made in USA, International Harvester Company, Chicago, USA. So it's still hardly readable, but it's still there. You can see it's more clear. The International Harvester Company made this. But yeah, these old tractors, they're still running, and a lot of times you think that these old tractors right here, they just don't run anymore and all in junkyards and stuff, but that's not true. These old tractors still run. Why? Because back in the 50s and 30s, late 30s, well, just in general back in those days, people knew how to build things simple, design things right. make things accessible for easy home service. Nowadays, they're all like, hey, let's make it too complex so that they have to take it into their they have to take it into our shops to have it serviced, and we get more money out of it. Where's the sense in that? I mean, I get that they want to make more money, but where's the sense in that? I mean, farmers, it's just be easier for us farmers to service our equipment all from home. So this is why we run the older equipment, because you can find replacement parts and get to things easy. And like, for example, these spark plugs back here, I just replaced those like last weekend. So they're brand spanking new spark plugs. And look at that, brand new battery. You can still get parts for these tractors. I mean, these starters right here, they don't have solenoids, but we're aiming to fix that so we're not blowing through these starter switches right here so much. It's difficult to find good switches, but we found one right here. But I tried to get another one of these, but they kept sending us junky switches. So we're aiming to put a solenoid on this so we're not drawing as much current through these. We're aiming to put a lead off that positive terminal right there, go into here, make another small wire going through here onto the starter so that we have a solenoid mounted here. This wire goes into the solenoid. This starter wire right here coming out of the solenoid and into there. We'll shorten this as needed, but more on that another time. But at this point, we're good right where we're at, so just got to make do with what we got. But that's basically all I have on this tractor. I mean, it's one of those things that it's just a good tractor, you know. I can't really explain it, but that's all there is. It's just the International Harvester Company back in the day designed these tractors right and made them as simple as literally ABC. So that's all really a farmer could ask for. I mean, a tractor this simple to operate and maintain. It's just really the answer to all the farmers' prayers, even today. If they still made tractors like this, except as powerful as people needed them and stuff, and as big as people needed them, and still able to keep the simplicity of this, it would just be the answer to all the farmers' prayers. So, and that way we're not always taking these tractors and having them hauled to shops and just to get them serviced, and if like a sensor breaks or something, you're not having Case or John Deere out here to come and dig through the engine and replace a sensor or something. But you don't have indicator lights. I mean, you just listen for problems and stuff. And you see most farmers and stuff on their tractors that are open like this, they'll be wearing earplugs going down there. We don't do that. We don't do that because we listen for problems. And a lot of times you can hear problems before they become a very, very expensive project to fix. And like, for example, on the rake, we once had a pin shear on that rake, and it damaged a part of a spline shaft inside the axle that connected the two wheels together and went into a gearbox. But with that, I mean, we heard it before it became an even more expensive project to fix. So we just ended up replacing a spline shaft, woodruff key, and using a 3-notched bolt for a replacement pin. So that's pretty much it. All us farmers ask for is just simple equipment to maintain and easy to find parts for, and that's all we ask. So with that in mind, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and until next time, I'll see you on the farms. Oh, and I almost forgot, in the next video, we might be doing a video about, again, this tractor. So you might see us concerning the solenoid and stuff on that day when the time comes. So with that in mind, I'll see you on the farms.